Okay, shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, and I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. So, Salakia, there was technical difficulties. My computer kept messing up. Doesn't show that there's anybody in here right now, so let's just give it about a minute. It says what, 2 people now? We'll give it about a minute, and we'll get started.
I'm on the YouTube screen right now, and it's only showing my my camera, but if anything, I'll just post the scriptures on there as you go.
Okay, Khan. So Khan, shalom. I don't know who's on here, but it says there's 2 people on here so far. We'll just wait about a minute, and it's going to stay on my channel anyways, right?
Khan.
So yeah, this lesson is going to be entitled, as y'all saw, a sluggard or a workman spirit, right? A sluggard or a workman spirit, because you either have one or the other, or you're in between, right? Which we know you can't be lukewarm in this truth, right? So it's showing there's 3 people now. So I'll go ahead and get started. So the reason or the thing that put me in the spirit to do this lesson is that many people have reached out to me in the past few weeks, and basically just saying that they're struggling with that spirit of sluggardness or laziness for many different reasons, right? Most of the time they're saying in the scriptures, but physically, mentally, spiritually, in one way or another, they say that they are, struggling with this spirit. And to be honest, there's no reason spiritually the majority of people should be struggling with the spirit of laziness. When it comes to like working and things of that nature, I can understand to an extent, just because I was just talking to some brothers this weekend about it too. Like all the free money that they're giving out right now, right? They're giving free money, they're giving free food, right? Even free internet. If you're getting I think a sister had told me if you're getting food stamps, you can get free internet, you can get a free phone. We have free social media, we have Netflix and all these other things. So it's real easy to fall into a spirit of laziness with all these different things, right? So actually, if you could give me, we'll start with Ecclesiastes 7:7 real quick. So like I said, there's a lot of different things. So I just put Khan, this just woke me up. So Khan, all praise the Most High. Yeah, Salakia, I was trying to get on earlier, but my computer kept messing up, right? So like I was saying, there's a lot of free stuff going around right now. So a lot of people don't have to work. And I've talked to multiple brothers that have said the same thing along the lines of, well, they're just giving money and things of that nature. So should I even work? I'm getting free food, food stamps. We have all these distractions, right? This is, if you want to go ahead and read it out.
Khan. This is Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
So a gift destroyeth the heart, right? Meaning all these gifts that they're giving you. I know some brothers that were saying they were real diligent in their work and in doing these certain things. But now that they're giving you all these gifts, giving whether it be the unemployment checks, like I was talking to a few brothers this weekend, they said that it's actually around $1,000 a week, $600 to $1,000 a week, right? That's a big gift for a lot of people. Like if you were making minimum wage or even $10, $12 an hour, that's only probably $400 or $500 a week. So you're making a lot more money. So it's real easy to get with that gift. It can destroy your heart when it comes to working and getting things done. You know what I mean? It gives you that little comfort bubble, I guess you could say. So there's a lot of people that are getting that spirit specifically from that gift, right? If you want to pull up Sirach 13, let me see, 13:1, and also 16, 13:1 and 16. So another reason that a lot of people get lazy is because they're hanging out with a lot of lazy spirits, right? And as we know, spirits can go easily from person to person, which is why you're not supposed to be around certain types of spirits, right? The more you hang around somebody who's not lazy, the more likely or more inclined you're going to be to not be lazy. The more you hang out with people that are lazy, the more inclined you're going to be lazy, right? It's the same thing with the word. If people are studying and you're trying to hang out with them more and more, you're going to be more inclined to do what they're doing, right? It's like Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed, right? Or like in 2 Corinthians where it says, evil communications corrupt good manners. So if you want to go ahead and read that out.
This is Sirach 13:1. He that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith, and he that hath fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him.
So he that touches pitch shall be defiled therewith. So pitch is like the real sticky dew that comes off of a tree. So it's saying when you touch certain things, comparing like Psalm 1:1-3, where it compares a man to a tree, or in Ezekiel, I believe it's 31, it compares a man to a tree. It's saying if you see a man, right, and he has pitch, he has something that you can be defiled with, and you're over here, and maybe you're not touching him, but you're hanging out with him so much, you're hand in hand with him, you're going to be defiled with that type of sin, right? And it says, and he that hath fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. So if you could get verse 16 as well, like Babu Kasha. And it says, he that hath fellowship with a Salakia, if you could post it up on the comments, Babu Kasha. Right, so when it says a proud man, if you have fellowship with a proud man, you shall be like him. So think about it this way. Sirach 10:12-13 says that pride is the beginning of sin. So any type of sin that a man is carrying and you're fellowshipping with him, you're going to end up being like unto him, because those spirits are real easy to jump from person to person, especially when it comes to laziness, right? So go ahead, 16 now, please.
This is Sirach 13:16. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like.
So all flesh, all people are going to sort themselves according to kind, right? It's like when we were in high school, you would have like the basketball players over here, you have the cholos over here, right? You have the fresas over there, right? They all consort according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. So you're gonna cleave on to whatever people are like you. In other words, you are going to, those spirits that those people have on you are going to cleave onto you and pull you in, right? So as we're going to see, there's plenty of verses that talk about laziness, and it's never in a good context, right? So if you want to get, actually we'll start with 2 Corinthians 13:5. 2 Corinthians 13:5 before we get into it, right? So you either have, like I said in the beginning, you're either gonna have that spirit which is of the enemy, which is of Hashatan, Satan, which is laziness or idleness, or you're gonna have the spirit of the Most High, which is that working spirit, right? So while we go over this, or while you watch this video, keep that in mind, and examine yourself to see which kind of spirit you really are, right? So whenever you got it,
this is 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Yahushua is in you, except ye be reprobates?
So it says examine yourselves first and foremost, right? Something that I know you've talked about many times, we both talked about together. We have to examine ourselves daily, right? Whether we be in the faith, whether we're actually walking in this word, and prove your own selves. You have to prove your own self. So it's easy to say, no, I'm not lazy. I'm not a sluggard, right? I'm a workman. But the Most High knows if that's actually true or not. And the only person we're trying to prove ourselves to is the Most High, right? And then it says, know ye not your own selves. A lot of people don't know their own selves. They don't actually know that they're being lazy or being sluggards because they don't examine themselves daily, right? And then it says, how that Yahushai is in you, except ye be reprobates. So we have to be walking to the best of our ability, according to how Yahushai was walking, right? And he wasn't just sitting around doing nothing. He was doing the work of the Most High, spreading the word. He was also a carpenter, right? Which is working with his hands. So we either have the spirit of slothfulness and idleness, which is going to lead, it's the way of death and poverty, as we're going to see, or you have the spirit of the Most High, which is the spirit of work. And that's from the very beginning. Actually, if you want to get Genesis 1:1, and I guess we could go, let me see, 1:1, and then we could go to 26. Because what in the beginning, we have to understand, what did the Most High do, right? What was the first thing that the Most High started doing? And we'll get that right now.
This is Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
So the first thing he did was start creating, right? You want to read verse 7.
Verse 7. Give me a second. This is verse 7. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
Okay, so then he made the firmament and he divided the waters, right? Then jump down to 16.
16. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
And then he made the stars and he made the lights, right? Now jump to 21.
This is 21. And God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after its kind. And God saw that it was good.
And then he started creating all the creatures, right? So now jump to 26.
This is 26. And God said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
So then after he started making everything else, then he made man in our image, because we know Yahushua was there with him, right? Yahushua was the firstborn of every creature. And he said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. In other words, we were made to be like the Most High. To the best of our ability, to be like the example that Yahushua left. Of course, we can't be perfect, but that's the example we're supposed to be following, right? So jump to Genesis 2:2.
This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 2. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
So Genesis 1 is the Most High working, and then Genesis 2, the beginning of the Bible, right? Verse 2 and 2, it says, on the seventh day, the Most High ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work. Again, says work 2 times, which he had made. So going back to 1 and 26, actually, let me pull it up on the screen. It says we were made in the Most High and Yahushua's image, after his likeness, right? So what did he do when at the beginning? He started working, right? He started making things, just like we're supposed to be working. And then what did he do? And on the seventh day, the Most High ended his work, and which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Just like we're supposed to, again, made in the same likeness, we're supposed to be doing the same thing, right? So we got 6 days to work, and then the seventh day we have to rest, right? But a lot of people, maybe there's a lot of people out there that even do the opposite, right? Maybe they won't rest, or they'll rest all week because they don't got no job, maybe just smoking weed all week, and then on the weekend they're not going to rest because they're going to go party and do all manner of wickedness, right? So the point that I'm making, though, is that lazy sluggard spirit doesn't want you to work, right? And as we're going to see in the scriptures, actually give me 2 Timothy 2:15. 2 Timothy 2:15. So one of the biggest things that the biggest reasons why certain brothers and even sisters were asking me about this lesson in particular, the laziness for the most part isn't physically, even though it could be physically and spiritually. But a lot of people say that they struggle more with laziness when it comes to spiritually, right? When it comes to praying, when it comes to studying, when it comes to being in the word, right?
Con.
So go ahead, 2 Timothy 2:15, Baruch.
2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Con. So a workman, right? A workman. Working in what? Working in the scriptures, right? Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High. How do you be approved by the Most High? By studying his word, right? Now we know you have to be a doer of the word, and not just a hearer or a reader, like James 1:22, but it starts by studying. You're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what laws to keep. You're not going to know your duty as a woman or as a man or as a child unless you study first, right? So study to show thyself approved to Yahweh, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed. So another thing that I know, one sister in particular was telling me, like, she feels almost ashamed to pray because she knows she hasn't been studying, right? A lot of I know I fell into that spirit years ago when I was first coming into the truth. But when you haven't been studying like you should be, and it doesn't feel the same when you're going to go and try and pray, right?
Con.
So study to show thyself approved unto Yahweh, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, rightly truth, rightly dividing the word of truth. So you have to divide up this truth, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. I've ran into a couple, a brother and a sister in particular, that they were saying they're studying and reading and stuff like that. And I believe I sent them both a video that I had done on studying. There's a big difference between studying and just reading, right? When you're just reading, and let's say you go, actually, look, I'm just gonna flip to a random page, right? Wherever it lands. Okay, Matthew, the first chapter. It says, starting on 18. Now the birth of Yahushua was on the wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily, right? A lot of people do that. I used to do that too when I was in the church or whatever. And what did you just learn? You didn't learn nothing, right? Because you're just reading. You're just reading. You're not studying. That's why it says study to show yourself approved. How do you study? By rightly dividing the word of truth. By putting, like the brother just pulled up, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little, right? If you give me 1 Corinthians 15, and I believe it's 58. I think I had it written down. I believe it's 15 and 58.
Come.
Let's see. So it starts with studying, right? But then, of course, our works have to line up with what we're studying, right? Our works have to line up with what we're studying. So go ahead, Art.
1 Corinthians 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord.
So, like I said, it starts with studying. Study to show yourself approved, not being lazy. But then studying is not enough, right? If you think about it, we all came out of some form of Christianity, whether it be Catholicism, Seventh-day Adventist, whatever the case is, right? Whatever religion you came out of. Now, when you came out of it, what was one of the biggest things we said? Like, oh yeah, they teach the Bible, but they don't do it, right? So we can't be the same as that. And that's why it says here, therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, right? We can't be moving in this truth. You have to, if you're going to be about the truth, if you're going to say you're an Israelite and you're going to say you're trying to follow the Most High, you have to be unmovable and not let people throw you off, right? Always abounding in the work of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. Always abounding in the work. In one way or another, you're abounding in the work, right? Like I know me and you have talked about it before, brother. Like you'll study, like study on your own, maybe take notes, then study with someone else, then start making music, then you're in prayer, then you go to sleep, then you wake up, and then you pray, and then you're doing it all over again, right? So constantly, always abounding in the work. For as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain. When you're doing everything for the Most High, it's not going to be in vain. You're going to get some type of reward or some type of increase in it, right? If you can get me Colossians 3 and 17. Colossians 3 and 17. So this is something that if we all would have learned when we were younger, it would have benefited every single one of us.
Con.
Go ahead, Art.
Colossians 3 and 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to God and the Father by him.
So everything that you do, whether it be in word or in deed, any type of work that you do, right? You're supposed to do it as if you're giving thanks to the Most High and Yahweh Shai, right? I was talking to a brother on Instagram earlier about, he was saying how actually I think I posted one of his stories or reposted it, and he was just saying how he's, no matter what he's doing, he'll be working, driving and stuff, and in everything he's just like giving thanks, like, man, there's an accident, that could have been me, man, I got to work, man, I woke up today, right? Everything that you do, no matter what you're doing, it should be to the Most High. You should never be doing anything where you feel like you're doing it without the Most High, right? And that's why, going back to the last one, 1 Corinthians 15 and 58, it says, always abounding in the work of the Most High, right? And I know I've said it before on a previous live. I remember one time, it was a while back, but probably last year, since I do landscaping work, I was like cutting this lady's yard, and then I was cutting the trees down and stuff, and I finished, and I was like, man, it was a long day. It was the last job of the day, and I got in my truck, and I was already about to drive away, and I looked, and I saw like one branch that was just hanging, and it was like it threw off the whole like scenery, you know what I mean? And I could have easily, I was like, you know what, man, she probably won't even notice. She's an old lady. She doesn't even, And I was like, I was kind of thinking about this, like everything we're doing, we're supposed to be doing as unto the Most High. Right. So because of that, I was like, all right, I'm going to stop my truck. I'm tired. I already put everything away. I'm going to go cut this one branch that's hanging there. But when I did it, and I felt a lot better, you know what I mean? And it's because I'm doing it as unto the Most High. And you gotta realize that it's like another brother had told me recently. He was like, hey, it's a real blessing just to be able to provide for your family, right? So we can either take that and do the best that we can with it, right? Or we can just half-ass things. And when you half-ass one thing, it leads to other areas of life as well, right? So if you could give me the same chapter, let me see, 23, verse 23 and 24, which is actually going along with what I'm saying, right? Everything that we do should be done as if you're doing it to the Most High, because He's the one who gave you the ability and the time and the physical ability, right, to do these things. He could have just killed us in our sleep last night, but He's still giving you the opportunity to work and to do whatever you need to do.
Con. This is Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. And whatsoever you do it heartily as the Lord, not unto men.
So do it heartily as unto the Most High, right? As unto Yahushua. Like, think about it. If he didn't even send his son Yahushua to die for our sins, we would be dead man walking. It wouldn't even matter anything that we're doing right now, right? So we're doing it as if we're doing it for them, not unto men. So like the example I gave, I could have been like, oh, I'm doing it for this lady. She's not even going to notice. It doesn't matter, right? But I was thinking that these verses kind of popped into my head, and I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it for her. The Most High is giving me the opportunity to provide for my family by doing this. I need to do it to the best of my ability. And who knows, maybe someone passes by, and then I leave cards with the people that I do work for. Maybe she passed it on to someone else, and that brought business or an increase somewhere else. You know what I mean? So go ahead, verse 24.
Verse 24, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Hamashiach.
So, knowing that if we're doing it to the Most High, if we're doing it to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right, we're going to receive some type of reward, some type of increase, and ultimately we're looking for that inheritance of the kingdom, right? But why are we trying to get that? Because we're serving Him. And that's the only reason, the only way you're going to get that is if you are serving Him, right? So if you could get Ecclesiastes 9 and 10, Baruch. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 9 and 10. So no matter what you're doing, whether it be studying, whether it be reading, just reading through, whether it be watching a video, taking notes, right? Whether it be actually working at your job, whether it be doing your duties as a mom, as a father, as whatever, you do it to the best of your ability, as if you're doing it to the Most High and not unto men. Go ahead up.
Con. Ecclesiastes 9, verse 10, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest.
Whatsoever your hand finds to do it with all your might. Do it to the best of your ability, right? Because it's like I said, you never know what kind of increase can come out of it if you just do it to the best of your ability. No matter what your job is, let's say you do your job to the best of your ability and someone tips you, right? You do it to the best of your ability, and later on you get a raise or you get bumped up in position. Someone else leaves and you get to take their position just because you were doing it with all your might, right? Or somebody likes the work you do, like me, for example. I've had it happen before where I'm cutting trees or something, and someone will stop by and be like, oh, you have a card? And then boom, I just got business right there, right? You never know how the Most High can increase you, right? It's like in Sirach 12:1, it says you can get a recompense from man or from the Most High, right? If you can get a Sirach 51:30, Sirach 51:30. So you have to know and you have to believe that the Most High is a rewarder of them that are serving Him and seeking Him, right? You have to believe that He is going to, in one way or another, if you're doing what He says right here, you're doing it to the best of your ability, right? Then He is going to reward you in one way or another.
Con. This is Sirach 51, verse 30. Work your work betimes, and in his time he will give you your reward.
So, like, if you could read it one more time, my internet was real choppy.
Con. This is Sirach 51:30. Work your work betimes, and in his time he will give you your reward.
So work your work betimes, and in His time He will give you your reward, right? So betimes can mean either you do things early or you do things like right on time, right? So work your work, do whatever work you need to do, right? Do it before you're supposed to do it or do it on time. Don't do it late, right? If you look up the definition of betimes, it'll either say something like that, depending on if you look at the older English or you look at the more modern, it's going to say before, like ahead of time, or you're going to do it on time. And in His time, He will give you your reward, right? A lot of times we want a reward right away because we're in that technology era, the era of instant gratification, right? You post something and automatically you want this many comments and this many likes and all this. This is programming us to want that instant gratification, that instant reward, right? But like it says here, in His time, in the Most High's time, He is going to give you His reward, right? So if you could get me Proverbs 13:11, Proverbs 13:11. Oh, Khan, the water posting that up. So it says betimes, before the usual or expected time or early, right? And if you look at some of the other definitions, it will say like right on time, right? So some people don't really believe there's a reward for doing the Most High's work, right? And that's why they stop doing it. They'll be in the truth. They'll be studying, going hard for the Most High, like studying, watching videos, taking notes, making breakdowns, stuff like that. And then they fall out of it. Why? Because they don't believe that in His time, they're going to get a reward, right? So go ahead.
Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase.
So wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished. I know a lot of people that'll see people getting wealthy or getting certain things, whether it be cars, money, clothes, jewelry, houses, and they're not in the truth. So that'll pull them away, right? But he that gathereth by labor shall increase. So the first thing we talked about when it came to working was working in the word, right? 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show thyself approved to the Most High, a workman that needeth not be ashamed, right? Rightly dividing the word of truth. Going through the truth and laboring in the truth is going to be the number one most important increase that you can get, right? But he that gathereth by labor shall increase. When you're laboring in something, truly laboring in something, and you're doing it with all your might, right? Like it says right here, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. Doing it with all your might, you're doing it as unto the Most High. He's going to give you a reward. Your labor your labor is going to increase, right? So if you could give me, I believe it's 13 and 4, actually. I don't think I wrote it down, but Proverbs 13 and 4.
Con.
Let's see.
The soul of a sluggard.
Con.
Yeah, it's 13:4.
Con.
Con. This is Proverbs chapter 13, verse 4. The soul of the sluggard desireth and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat.
So the soul of the sluggard, and notice it says the soul, right? It's not even the person. It's saying the soul of the sluggard. The soul of the sluggard. How many people do you know? Or I don't know, maybe if you've met any, but I know I've met at least a few that have told me, like, I desire wisdom, or I desire to be like in these scriptures, like, okay, I can just pull precepts. This person said this, that. They desire it, but what does that take? Right? It takes labor in the word, like we read in 2 Timothy 2:15. They desire it and have nothing because they're being sluggards. But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. So that can pertain spiritually, that can pertain to knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, or that can pertain to you desire to have, maybe a home, or not even a home. You desire to have your own apartment, right? Because I know a lot of brothers and sisters that still, living with their parents or living with wicked friends, family members, whatever. Well, this says the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. You have to start doing things to the best of your ability. Start following the word so that the Most High can even reward you with those types of things in the first place, right? It's like my uncle. He's not in the truth, but he was my father figure growing up, and there was a couple of things he told me that I always remembered, and one of them was he said it like this, right? But he said, God helps those who help themselves. And I mean, of course, he's Catholic and he's all this, but that's a true thing to say, because that's basically what this is saying right now. The soul of the sluggard is going to desire but have nothing, right? But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat, right? That's basically saying the same thing. The Most High is not just going to give you everything because you prayed for it, right? If that was the case, then everybody would have what they wanted, because I'm sure many people pray for houses and pray for all this stuff, but you're not being diligent, you're not working for it, so you're not going to get it, right? So this is the definition of diligent. Salakia, 1 second. If you while I get it, can you get Ecclesiastes 3:22? Ecclesiastes 3:22, Baba Kasha. Could you hear me? It cut off for a second.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. You want me to read it as well, or just wait?
Okay, come. No, yeah, go ahead.
This is Ecclesiastes 3:22. Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him?
So this is Solomon, right? The wisest man to live beside Yahushua, right? If you could get chapter 2 and 24 as well, Baba Kasha, Ecclesiastes 2:24. So this is Solomon, right? He said, I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? You're not going to see what's after you if you die today, right? So you should rejoice in your own works. And this is a good precept for it to explain it better, right? Go ahead, Ad.
Ecclesiastes 2:24. There is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw, that it was from the hand of Yahweh.
So this is from the hand of the Most High. If there is nothing better for a man than that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy the good in his labor, right? You have to enjoy the good in your labor. And how and why do you enjoy the good in your labor? Because, for example, like you like how you said, since you already studying being diligent, but now when you got baptized, and then it seems like the Most High is just taking you to another level in it, right?
Yeah.
And,
Most definitely.
and I'm sure you enjoy that, or else you wouldn't be doing it in the first place, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Most definitely.
enjoy con. So you should make your soul enjoy the good in your labor. When you know, okay, I'm putting in work in this area of my life, and now I'm starting to see the fruits that the Most High is giving, whether it be studying and you're getting wisdom, whether it be working and now you get to get your own place, or now you can support a woman or a family, or now you can just the fact that you can provide for your family if you have a family, right? Because like it says at the end, this also I saw that it was from the hand of Yahweh, right? Now the only or the main thing that we labor for should be this truth, right? It's like Matthew 6 and what I think it's 20, how it says to stash up treasures in heaven. 6 and 19, no, 6 and 20. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Right. So the number one treasure we should be stashing up, obviously, is this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Because that's what's going to get us through the plagues and the troubles to come, like Isaiah 33 and 6 says, right? So just tests posted in all labor there is profit, but the talk of lips tends only to penury, right? So if we all know people, a lot of people that just run their mouth and run their mouth and run their mouth. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this, and it just leads to you being poor, right? Which actually, if you could get me, let me see, or actually give me a Luke 12 and 48, and then we'll get into some verses about that sluggard spirit. Right?
What was that?
Because
Luke
all
12.
these that we're reading right now is dealing with Luke 12 and 48. Luke 12 and 48. It's all good. My connection is real choppy right now.
It's all good. Let me know when you're ready.
But yeah, go ahead.
This is Luke chapter 12, verse 48. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask more.
So just dealing with that second part, right? It says, for unto whomsoever, for unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Right? Whoever the Most High has given more knowledge, wisdom to. So like I'm gonna read it again because my connection cut off again. It says, for unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Right? So if the Most High gave you the understanding that you're an Israelite, now guess what? That's a blessing, but now you are required to do more, right? Then the Most High opened up your understanding, gave you wisdom to something else. Now you got to follow that. Now more is required of you. The more you learn, it's always a learning process, right? But guess what? Now you're called to apply what the Most High is allowing you to understand. Right? Same thing with baptism. Same thing with any of the new laws or new precepts that you learn. You have to start applying it because the Most High gave you that understanding, right? And to whom men have committed much, him they will ask the more, right? It's like if somebody puts you in charge of the whole bank that you're at, now they committed more to you, right? So now they're asking more of you. They're gonna
Yeah.
expect more from you. So it's the same thing with the Most High. If he gives you all this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, now you have more to do. If he gives you a family, now you have a wife, now you have children, right? He committed more to you, but guess what? To whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required, right? You got a lot more work to do now. Now you're supporting, say you have 2 children and a wife. Now you gotta feed 4 people. Now you need a 2 or 3 bedroom house instead of just a little 1 bedroom apartment or something, right? You got a lot more to do now. So if you could give me 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10.
Con. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
Right? So notice it says we commanded you, right? That if any would not work, neither should he eat. I know a lot of grown men, or should be grown men, that don't work and they get to eat off of somebody else's table, right? If everybody was following the word, that wouldn't even be happening, right? Like it says that we commanded you that if any would not work, neither should he eat. So again, we can compare this to anytime you look at a scripture, you should be able to see that there's the spiritual side, the spiritual aspect, and then there's the physical aspect. So if somebody is living in my house personally and they're not working, they're not helping in any way, benefiting my household, my family, why should I be feeding them, right? But also, if you look at the spiritual aspect, if any would not work, neither should he eat. What do they call the word? The bread of life, right? Khan, the living waters, right? If you're not working in these scriptures, you're not going to eat of this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. If you're not in the word working, you're not going to eat of all the blessings from Deuteronomy 28 and 1 to 14. You'll be blessed in the field, blessed in your house, blessed in your basket, blessed in your store. How are you going to eat of those things if you're not even working in the word in the first place? Right? That would make no sense. A man always reaps what he sows, right? Galatians, the 6th chapter. So if you could give me, actually, if you want to go to, man, because if we read, or you know what, I'm gonna give y'all, I guess something to read later, instead of reading the whole, because we could read the whole chapter, Matthew chapter 25, the parable of the 10 virgins. I know you're familiar with that. The parable of the 10 virgins, right? If you don't have any oil, right? If you're not in this, what's going to give us oil is going to be this word, right? If we're not in these scriptures daily, getting in the spirit, how then are you going to later on have that oil when it's time for all these plagues and then for Yahushua to come back, right? And then if you read 14 through, what is it? 14 on down to, I believe it's like 30, right? Where Yahushua is talking about the servants, where he gave the servants, and they when he gave one of them, he doubled what he got, right? Then he gave the other one the talents. One of them doubled it. One of them increased. The other one went and buried it, right, and did nothing with it. We have to see that as our works. Like if you've been given, say, a talent, for example, right, an actual talent, not a coin, not a piece of money like back then. Like say you are with your music, you have a talent, and then you're like, man, I can make some music for the Most High, but then you just sit on it and you just I'm not going to use it at all, right? The Yahushua called that servant, I believe he called him wicked. Let me see. It's Matthew 25. So like, bear with me 1 minute. 25 and 26. Are you on it, or you want me to read it out?
I'm here. Let me pull it up. I pulled it up on my Bible, but let me pull it up on the screen here. You said
Okay,
Matthew 25, 26?
Yeah, 26 and verse 29 also. But if you could read 26 out.
This is Matthew chapter 25, verse 26. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed.
So he said to the one who didn't even use the talents he gave him, right? He said, Thou wicked and slothful servant, right? You're being wicked. Why? Because you're being slothful. You didn't want to use what I gave you. Now, of course, he gave him actual pieces of money, right? But the Most High has given us different things, whether it be talents, whether it be an ability to work, right? Because when I was in San Antonio, man, at when I took my children to SeaWorld, we saw, I've never seen that many, at least a handful of what are they called? Like where they have one leg, they're amputees, right? I saw at least it was more than a handful for sure, maybe up to like 8 or 9, just walking around and stuff, to the point where there's rides that say no amputees on this ride. Like in certain rides, I saw that on multiple ones of them. It was like the steel eel and the great white and some other ones. And I was just thinking like, man, we are so blessed. Like I'm here with my children. I have 4 children that all got their legs and their arms, right? And then me, my rib, we all have the ability to do the things that the Most High allows us to do, whether it be to work, right? Whether it be to even just play with your children, run outside or kick a soccer ball or whatever the case may be, right? So it says, Thou wicked and slothful servant, right? You're being wicked because you're being slothful. Whatever the Most High gave you, and remember, this is right after he gave them some talents. And the other 2 servants, one of them, he doubled it. The other one got increase as well, right? So if you want to read 29.
This is Matthew 25 and 29. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath.
So in other words, if I gave you a little bit, right? For unto every one that hath shall be given. Whatever you have and you increase it, you're going to be given even more. But to those, let me post it up. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath. And if you read the whole story, it makes a whole lot more sense. I'm just going to give you all a couple of verses just for time's sake. But this is something else to look into, right? You have to understand that it's really talking about being slothful. That's why he said, Thou wicked and slothful servant. If I give you a little bit and you don't even use it, then that little bit that you have is going to be taken away from you, right? But if I give you a little bit and you increase it and you use it for what I gave you that for, whether it be the ability to work, the ability to provide for your family, something pertaining to bringing people into the Most High, right? Whether it be music, whether it be making lessons, even just making posts, right? I know a lot of people that they just come across Instagram pages and that's how they end up starting out in the truth. Even just posting the Most High's truth, or even just talking to a family member trying to spread the word, right? The little bit that you were given, you have to use it to make some sort of increase for the kingdom, right? Because if you're not, then what are you doing? You're just sitting on it, right? The Most High gave you that wisdom and you're not even using it, right? It's like it says all throughout the scriptures. If would you take a candle or a lamp and put it under your bed? No, right? It's made to shine. So the same thing with all the gifts that the Most High has given us, especially knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? So if you could get me Proverbs 6:6, I'm gonna go, I believe, all the way to 11. Proverbs 6:6 through, let me see, through 11.
Con, you want me to go all the way through?
If you can read them one at a time,
You got it. This is Proverbs 6:6. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise.
So go to the ant, thou sluggard, right? Sluggard. I'm actually gonna let me get the definition of sluggard. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, and be wise. So look at how the ant conducts itself. Look at how the ant works, and you will get some wisdom from it, right? I'm actually gonna get the blue letter. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. You want to read the next verse too, Akbawkasha?
This is Proverbs 6:7, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler.
Go ahead, one more.
8, provided her meat in the summer and gathered her food in the harvest.
Right, so it says, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler. So now we know ants don't have no supervisors watching what they're doing, right? Oh, y'all aren't working together as a team. Oh, y'all are clashing, y'all are fighting. No, they just get done what they need to get done, right? And what do? They provided her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest. So we know throughout the summer up until the harvest, which about fall time, right, they're going to be gathering that food. Why? Because in most areas in the winter time, you're not going to have no food. So it's like that that what was that movie, that Disney movie, Bugs Life? You ever seen that one, Knock?
Con.
Where they're gathering the food, right? Or Ants. I don't really remember that one, but I know I've seen Bugs Life multiple times, right?
Yeah.
And what do? They stash up that food. They know what's coming. They know the winter time's coming, and they're not going to be able to work, or they're not going to be able to grow, or they're not going to be able to get the food that's been grown. So the same with us. And especially knowing, and think about it this way, winter time can just be a how would I say, a type of symbolism, right? A type of symbolism, because think about it this way. There's a cold, what did was it Trump or Biden last year that said it's going to be a cold winter or something like that?
They kept pushing that phrase for sure.
Right, something like that. But if you think about it, with all the inflation and all the stuff that is happening right now, and then I don't know, have you seen that or heard about that in California, how they said the farmers don't have no water?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean, right? What does that mean? That means there's not going to be food. There's not going to be as much food. I don't know about where you live, but where I live, it seems like if you go to Walmart, the oranges, the apples, almost all the fruit, it'll say it comes from California or Mexico. So if California doesn't have enough water to grow crops, then that means that all the prices of the crops are going to go up, which is what? Inflation, right? Wow. So if you see that coming, you need to be like the ants and prepare so that you're going to have food, right? The ant is the perfect example of that. So now I'm gonna read the definition of sluggard real quick. This is Strong's H6102, right, which is from the Strong's Concordance. So the first definition is indolent. Indolent, which I'll get the definition for that as well in just a minute, right? So okay, so you posted up, what was that for a mock, like a dictionary?
Yeah, I just googled it. I can pull up the
Okay.
Strong's as well if you need me to.
Okay, now if you could just get indolent, the definition of indolent, and post it up, Baba Kashaw. Because on the Strongs, the first thing that it says for sluggard is indolent, and then it says slothful, and then it says sluggard, right? So look at what indolent means. So on this one, sluggard, it says a lazy, sluggish person, right? A lazy, sluggish person, a habitually lazy person, someone who's just lazy and lazy and lazy. Habitually, they just keep being lazy and keep being lazy, right? Whether it be spiritually, whether it be with prayer, whether it be with studying, whether it be with providing for their house, whether it be with teaching their family, right? So remember, the first definition is indolent in the Hebrew when it says sluggard. It's indolent. So this is indolent. It says wanting to avoid activity or exertion. Wanting to avoid activity or exertion. Exertion is like when you're getting yourself tired, right? Either mentally or physically. So a sluggard is someone who wants to avoid activity that's going to get them tired, right? I'm sure you can attest to it out when you're in the scriptures for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. It does get tiring, right?
Yeah, of course. For the
Right?
flesh,
Mentally.
the spirit is
Yeah,
strong, but
yeah.
the weak.
Exactly, exactly. So it's building you up in the spirit, but in the flesh, you're like, man, my eyes, man, I'm getting dry, right? Man, my like you're getting tired. You're over here like trying to wake yourself up, right? People want to avoid that.
Yeah.
Sluggards want to avoid that, right? They want to avoid activity or exertion. Then when it comes to physically, now, well, I don't want to work. That's man, that's too hard to do, right? Or it's too hot outside, or it's too much work, it's too whatever the case may be. What it comes down to is they want to avoid activity or exertion, which exertion is um getting tired, right? So let's keep going on chapter 6.
This is Proverbs 6:9. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep?
So Most High is asking you, how long are you gonna sleep, you sluggard, right? You lazy person. When are you gonna rise out of your sleep? Whether it be spiritual sleep, right, or whether it be physically. Go ahead.
This is verse 10. Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep.
Go ahead.
11. So shall thy poverty come as one that traveleth, and thy want as an armed man.
Right. So yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands. You know, some people will fall asleep like this, or they'll fall asleep like this. A little folding of the hands, and what's gonna happen? Your poverty is gonna come. Right. Your poverty is gonna come. Even says like, and I want as an armed man. Right. If somebody is going to rob somebody, it's because they're in need or in want of something, right? They are in deep need or want of something. So you can't, and again, looking at it spiritually, of course, because most people read that and then they're like, okay, I can't be lazy, I gotta work, right? But spiritually, a little bit of slumber and your poverty is gonna come, right? It's like when I would teach MMA, but especially jujitsu, which is like chokes, arm bars, like things like that, right? Submission wrestling. If somebody misses a week or somebody misses even a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, you know already when they come back, They're gonna be a little bit slower. They're gonna forget the stuff that they taught that was taught already. The people that were there that are learning this new stuff every day, they're using it on them. Like say I teach a new choke and then people are using it. Someone misses a week and they forget what they learned, and now they're getting someone else just rose above them and they're using what they just learned. So it's the same thing with the scriptures. When you get out of the scriptures for a few days, for a week, maybe 2 weeks, which nobody should be doing, right? But it happens. If that happens, right? It's like brother Zealous of Israel just said they're gonna be rusty, right? They're gonna be rusty, exactly. You come back and you'll be like, oh yeah, like Matthew 5:20. You go to Matthew 5:20 and you're like, wait, what? This ain't even the verse I was calling, right? Like your memory is already gone, like your muscle memory, right? That's what they call it in MMA. But it's the same thing with the scriptures. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's like that one verse. It says this, that, and the other, and you tell them to go to it, and it's not even the verse. That can get embarrassing, right? That can be ashamed. That can make you ashamed. Like 2 Timothy 2:15, it said, a workman in the truth that needeth not be ashamed, right? You're gonna be quicker on your sword. You're gonna be more sharp, right? Because you've been in this and you're consistent and you're diligent with it, right? So that's a good precept. You want to go ahead and read that, Ak? Sirach 22.
This is Sirach chapter 22, verse 1. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone, and everyone will hiss him out to his disgrace.
Go ahead.
22 and 2. A slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill. Every man that takes it up will shake his hand.
So I know a couple, I won't say brothers, but a couple of men that I know, and they're literally like what it just said. A slothful man is compared to a filthy stone. And then in verse 2, a slothful man is compared to the filth of a dunghill. I know some dudes that they're so lazy they won't shower for days, that they won't brush their teeth for days, right? They let themselves get dirty. They let themselves start smelling like a dunghill, right? And then also spiritually, right? If you want to get 1 Samuel 2:8 real quick, because again, like I was saying, you have to look at everything physically and spiritually, right? You can literally make yourself physically be filthy, but also spiritually when you're not in this word and in this truth, right? When you're not in this truth, that you're going to get spiritually filthy as well, right? The ox said the Bible called dudes a piece of shit. Hey, the Bible, hey, the Most High has an eloquent way of saying that, right? Go ahead, 2 and 8.
This is 1 Samuel 2 and 8. He raised up the poor out of the dust and lifted up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are Yahweh's, and he hath set the world upon them.
So who raises up the poor out of the dust? The Most High, right? He lifts up the beggar from the dunghill, right? So of course this could be physically. He can make a poor man rich. The scriptures say it's an easy thing for the Most High to make someone rich, right? But this is talking more spiritually. He lifts us up out of the dunghill, out of our spiritual filth, out of all these religions, out of the ways of the world, out of all these false ideologies, right? That's how he does it. And he sets them among princes, right? So what does Yasharal or Yasharala means? It means prince of the power with God or with Yahweh, right? He makes us to be princes. When before, like me and you, we know we were in our filth, in that dunghill of the world before this, right? So that's what the Most High does. So if you could give me Proverbs 10 and 26. Proverbs 10 and 26. I'm gonna go up on the comments real quick. Zealots of Israel said quietly there's a global famine happening. So, if you actually look at news outlets and stuff, there's millions and millions and millions of people in famine right now. But most people don't care because it's not me. It's not in my country. It's not in my state. It's not in my city. So I don't care, right? Um, Zealots of Israel. I train in MMA. That's cool. I still do it, but I do it at my house because all the gyms around here, let me tell you, bro, you'd be surprised how many people are vaccinated. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, but I'll be wrestling or boxing, sparring, whatever. And the nastiest thing that can happen to you when you're training MMA is you punch somebody or they're on top of you and you get up or something and their sweat drops in your eye, man. It's horrible and it burns. But guess what? If somebody's vaccinated and they got that spike protein in them, you just got that in you, right? So just something to think about. Okay, go ahead. Proverbs 10.
10:26. As vinegar to the teeth and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him.
So as vinegar is to the teeth, I don't know if any of y'all have tried vinegar, but it's very, very acidic, right? Vinegar is very acidic. What does acid or acidic stuff do to your teeth? It'll start to wear down the enamel in your teeth, right? In other words, it's gonna rot. And as smoke is to the eyes, so like I just mentioned, sweat in your eyes is almost as bad as smoke in your eyes. Nobody likes smoke in their eyes, right? So is the sluggard to them that send him. So if you look in any in other translations, when it right here, it's going to say, so is the sluggard to them that send him to work or to accomplish a task, something like that, right? When you have a sluggard working for you, or if you have somebody who's lazy, who's half-assing things, or if you, let's say you send, for example, your child or something to go and do some work, and you just put in the good word for them, right? It's like vinegar to the teeth. It's like smoke to the eyes. It's going to be very, very unpleasant, very unprofitable for the person that now has this sluggard, right? Which is another reason why you shouldn't hang out with sluggards in the first place, right? So if you could give me Proverbs 20:4, Proverbs 20:4.
This is Proverbs 20, verse 4. The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold, therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing.
So this is talking about just about the cold, right? It says the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold, right? In the Hebrew, it says by reason of the winter. So a lot of people, some people be like, nah, it's too cold to work, right? It's too cold to work, but you can replace that with any type of excuse. Some people down here in the valley where it's about 100 degrees all through the summer, and I'm talking about, when you were here, you felt the humidity, right?
And it was crazy. It wasn't even full summer yet.
Like, exactly, right? It was a spring.
Yeah.
So we have like 70 to 90% humidity almost all summer. So that on top of 100-degree weather, I think I had showed you a screenshot the other day, right? Well, I don't even remember how hot it was. Do you remember?
I don't, man, but we were talking about it because down here where I'm at, it gets to, it was 117 the other day, but we're not, they say it's a dry heat, man. It feels like a blow dry in the face, but where you're at, it's just so green. There's so much water and humidity that, man, it's intense.
I believe it was it said feels like 114 with the humidity, but it was only like 100.
Yeah,
right?
that was it.
but with the humidity, like bro, you just go outside, and if you're outside for a minute, you're gonna be your whole back is sweaty. You know what I mean? You're covered in sweat. So you could replace this. The sluggard would not plow by reason of the cold. You could replace that with anything. For the reason of the cold, for the reason that it's hot, for the reason that they want to watch Netflix, for the reason that they're just feeling lazy, for the reason that I got my stimulus check, right? Whatever the case may be. Therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing. If you don't work, you don't eat, like we read in Thessalonians, right? You're going to be begging later, but hey, guess what? These people work for their stuff, right? So now why, just because you were lazy, do I have to give up some of mine? And that's going back to Matthew 25. Like I said, I would highly recommend y'all read that, Matthew 25, with the parable of the 10 virgins, right? It said 5 of them were wise and five of them weren't. And then what happened? When the bridegroom came, 5 of them had oil in their lamps, and the other 5 were saying, hey, give us some of yours, right? If you're going to be a sluggard, you're not going to have your own. And when you ask, when they asked the ones that weren't wise, asked the wise and said, hey, can we have some of your oil? They said, go and buy your own, right? I'm not about to give you mine. It's the middle of the night. This is when I need it, right? Just like right here, it says, therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing. In the winter time, you're going to want it, but you're not going to have nothing. And you're going to be asking other people, but it's going to be too late. You should have been working this whole time. That's why Proverbs 6:6 says to go to the ant and be wise and try and be like them, right? 1 Timothy 5:8, if you could pull that up, this object commented it. Yeah, that's one of my favorite verses. This is the verse that reminds you, if you're not a man, especially if you have a family, right? If you're married or if you have children, if you're not providing for them spiritually and physically, you're not going to make it. Plain and simple, right? I love 1 Timothy 5:8. Well, go ahead, Ark.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
And why can't people provide for their own? The majority of the time it's because they're being lazy, right? It's because they're being lazy. Whether it be, again, physically and spiritually, it always comes down to both. Physically, if we're talking physically, you're not providing for your house. You can't even pay the bills, right? It's because you're being lazy. Because let me tell you, me and 2 brothers were in downtown San Antonio this weekend, and bro, everywhere you go, there's now hiring signs. Everywhere you go, like almost every single place. And it was starting, some of them were saying $12, $15 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant. You know what I mean? And some of them even said, I think it was Bill Miller's barbecue. I don't believe y'all have them over there, but it said you could have they'll give you a sign-on bonus.
That's wild.
For a fast food place.
Fast food place, yeah.
They're going to give you a sign-on bonus. But the reason why is because, like at the very beginning, like I said, hey, if Biden is giving all this free money, if he's giving $500 to $1,000 to $1,200 a week, you're not going to be able. It doesn't matter how big your bonus is. They're getting free money over here. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are falling into that spirit of slumber from that gift, right? Like we read Ecclesiastes 7:7, a gift destroyeth the heart. So what's going to happen when they cut that off, which some states, I believe it was like half the states, 25 or up to 30 states, were saying they're going to cut the benefits already, right? Because they need more people to get back to work. So if you're in this spirit right now, but if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than the infidel. So some people might be providing right now, but you're not working though. And I'm not saying that not to do that, right? But you need to know, hey, if it's going to get cut off this day, I need to be looking for a job in advance of that, right? Like Proverbs 22:3 says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil, right? You have to foresee what's coming, right? Because if you don't, it says he had denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. You're denying the faith, you're denying the word, you're denying the Most High, and you're worse than a non-believer, because that's what an infidel is, someone who doesn't even believe, if you're not providing for your house. So that's talking financially, but then of course you have spiritually. If you're not working in the word, right? All the plagues that are going to come, right? You're not doing this right here. If you could get Isaiah 33:6 real quick too, Kashaw.
33:6.
Khan. So like I said, spiritually, right? You have to be a prudent man. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished, right? The only thing, or the number one thing that is going to get us through all these plagues and all these things that are going to happen soon is going to be knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's the only thing that's going to keep us stable in the times to come, right? According to the word. So if we're foreseeing all these evils, foreseeing means in the future, we see these things are coming, whether it be inflation, whether it be famine, whether it be the microchip, mark of the beast, whether it be whatever the case may be, right? You need to start preparing for these things. And first and foremost, we know that the number one thing that's going to get us through these times, we cannot be lazy. The number one thing we can't be lazy in, right, is Isaiah 33:6.
Con. This is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure.
So wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times, right? So if you're being lazy in the scriptures, if you're not even studying, if you're not getting knowledge, wisdom, and understanding right now, if you're not reading through the Torah and knowing what laws you're supposed to be keeping, how do you expect to get through the times that are coming? How are you going to be stable in the times to come? You're not going to be, because the Most High is not going to let you be, right? You're going to be the one begging when there's no food. Proverbs 20:24, the sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. You don't want to work right now in the scriptures. You don't want to work right now getting whatever it is you need to be good later on. Therefore shall he beg in harvest and have nothing. Then all right, you're not going to have nothing. Go ahead.
I have a question for you. Can you expound on Proverbs 20:4? The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. Only because I know that I've had that spirit on me when I was in Christianity. That was a very long time ago, where I could just read tomorrow. Like I'll be, he's not coming back anytime soon. I'll be straight.
Mm-hmm.
I could party. I'm in my 20s. And I had that spirit on me a long time ago, very long time ago. I had that mentality where I felt like I had all the time in the world, and in reality, that was just being a sluggard. That was just not being diligent in the word. Would you equate that to a sluggard not plowing by reason of whatever to taking advantage of grace?
I mean, it could be grace, it could be faith, right? Like we read what is it? Romans 6:1, Romans 6:15, right? Where it says you don't want to do these things because you have grace, because you have faith, right? And it says Yahweh forbid. You don't want to keep the laws because of these things. It could be that. It could just be that spirit of, or like you said, it could be a spirit of tarrying, right? Like Sirach 5:7 says, make no tarrying to turn to Yahweh. People just think they have enough time, right? They think they have enough time to tarry. But if you really think about it, it's really, if you look at it this way, it'll make you not want to do it as much. When you look at it as, it's disrespect to the Most High to not study today. Because let's say you die in your, let's say someone breaks into your house and kills you in your sleep. Let's say tomorrow you're driving to work and there's someone with road rage and they shoot you. The brother Hawiyala was just showing me, he has this app. He lives in Houston, right? And he has this app where it shows like news. And he was like, "Oh, check out this one, knock." It was like road rage shooting. And then he showed me another one, and it was like all from the weekend. He was just showing me a bunch of different things. There was this dude that killed like his whole baby mom's family. He went to her to get some money, and some money. She had got like the stimulus and her taxes and all this stuff. He went to get some. Her uncle, I believe, and one of her cousins and her brother or someone else, like multiple people came out, and guess what? Boom, boom, boom. He killed all of them. Right. There was another one. He showed me that there was a dude in a car, and I think he cut him off or something like that. And the dude pulled out a gun and tried to shoot at him. And when he shot at the dude out of road rage, he ended up hitting a kid, or the dude's kid that was in the passenger seat. And he shot him in the chest on accident. And then the cops found that gun, and they actually found out it was a murder weapon from like a shooting in a club or something. Right? So the whole point I'm making is like, there's people dying every day at a crazy rate, right? Whether it be that, whether it be from the corona, or whatever you want to call it. Some people are gonna say that, or from the vax, from whatever it is, right? What many people are dying, and just for us to be like, I could do it tomorrow, that's disrespect to the Most High when we know He can just kill you tonight, right? Or today, or tomorrow, right? So hopefully, does that answer your question, Not?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay. So Lee Israel, Khan. So if you could get me Proverbs 26 and 16. 26 and 16. Proverbs 26 and 16. But Khan, it's crazy, man. We're living in these times, and it's like what is it? I think it's 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, where it says like people's love will wax cold and men will wax worse and worse, and all these different things are gonna happen. And we're starting to see that there's some crazy things that are going on. I can't remember where it was, but there was a Israelite woman that stabbed her, I believe it was 7-year-old, to death like last week. Like there's just some crazy spirits going on right now. That's right? Insane. But 2 Timothy 3:13, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceit. That's what's going on right now. People getting worse and worse. It's like in 2nd Ezra, it says that the world will waxing old in wickedness, right? You want to go ahead and read that?
Khan, this is Proverbs 26 and 16. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason.
me and my rib were actually we actually read this verse earlier, and it's crazy because it's like you could look at it so many different ways, right? The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason. So let's say you have a lazy, we were using someone that we know, for example, you have someone lazy that's, say, our age, or whether it be 20s, mid-20s, late 20s, 30, even up to 40. I know multiple people like this, right? You could have someone come to them and be like, bro, how old are you? You still live with your mom. They're like, man, you don't know what you're talking about. Bro, how old are you? You don't even have a job. Nah. You don't know what you're talking about, right? Oh man, dude, all you do is smoke weed all day, right? You don't have a car, you don't have a job, you don't have a girl. How old are you? You could give them 7 different reasons, right? 7 different people could come and give them reasons why you need to stop being a sluggard. But he's still wiser in his own mind, right? He still thinks he knows that he's got it going, right? Or he has a plan, right? Because everybody has a plan at that point. Well, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, but then it never comes to pass, right? Or another example could be like, say you know somebody that's not following the word. Like we know somebody that knows about the word, that's been to multiple Bible studies with us, that believes the word, even believes in the names in Yahweh Shai, but doesn't keep any of the works, right? And we're talking about this person, like you could be like, hey, but look, you're really sick. And in Sirach, I believe it's 38 and 15, it says, he that sinneth before his maker shall fall into the hands of the physician. And this person knows this, and they're like, yeah, that's true, right? But I'll do it later, right? Or hey, you're allowing all these spirits in your house, and you know the word says you're not supposed to go. Yeah, but well, I'll deal with it later. Or I'll work it out, or blah blah. Or hey, you're doing this, you're breaking Sabbath, and now look, these bad things are happening to you. These curses are in your life. Oh yeah, well I'll get there eventually. Or the Most High knows my heart. Things like this, right? You could give people 7 reasons for being lazy in the spirit or being lazy physically, and it doesn't matter, right? Because they're wise in their own conceit. Your conceit is like your own thoughts, so it doesn't matter. Sirach, okay, the water. He that sinned before his maker, let him fall into the hands of the physician, right? That could just be one reason. And if someone believes the Bible and they're like, look, this just happened to you, you've been sinning, and you know the word, right? And you know you believe that the laws aren't done away with, and now you're getting sick. That should be one reason right there. But most people, like it said right there, they're gonna be wiser in their own conceit, right? It's like Sirach 3 and 24. Many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment. Their own opinion is what they're gonna go with, right? They're wiser with their own opinion than what you can say or what the word says, right? So if you could give me Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. I'll read this real quick. Sirach 3 and 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. Right? Your own opinion and that evil suspicion in your mind that overthrows that good judgment, it comes when you're being a sluggard. Like it says right here, the sluggard is wiser in his own conceit. You're so lazy, you don't even want to have to deal with what these people are telling you, right? Just to go off of your own laziness, off your own opinion, even if they have 7 reasons, right? Go ahead, Art.
Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through.
So this is a good one for sisters, right? If you read Titus, the 2nd chapter, it says that you're supposed to work at home, right? For some sisters, if through slothfulness, your building, your home will start decaying, right? Through idleness, through not doing anything, right? Through idleness of the hands of the house, the house droppeth through. Being lazy, not taking care of things, brothers as well. You see something, a board start coming off, you need to nail it back in, you leave it there, and guess what? The house is going to start falling down little by little. So that's the physical, but then again, looking at it spiritually, right? Being slothful, our body is our temple, right? That's the building that we're supposed to take care of. If you could get 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17 out. 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17. By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness, not doing anything. Idle means you're just chilling, you're not doing nothing, right? Through idleness of the hands, the house droppeth through, right? So
Con.
talking about your temple, talking about your temple physically now. Go ahead.
This is First Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you?
Go ahead.
17. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are.
So we are the temple of the Most High, right? Not no church building like we thought we were in Christianity. Acts 7:48 says that, right? Acts 7:48 says the Most High doesn't dwell in temples made with hands, right? Just because you went to some apostolic church, like I know you did too, Ak, and me as well. In the apostolic church, they're real big on the Holy Spirit. They'll start playing the music and they start dancing and run. Have you ever seen them running around the building?
Yeah.
It's folly, right? It's folly. And they think that that's the Holy Spirit. They think that the Most High Spirit is in this church building, and now I'm feeling it, and I'm going to start running around in the Spirit in the building. That's not what it. That's not what the Most High says. That's not what the Scriptures say. We are the temple, right? So 3:16 says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High, and the Spirit of the Most High dwells in us." Right? So we have to take care of our temples. If any, Salaki, let me pull it up. If any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy, for the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. Right? By much slothfulness, the building decayeth. Just being lazy, your temple is going to start being destroyed. Right? You're going to start defiling your temple just by being lazy. You can easily go home and cook a nice little meal, but instead you go to McDonald's, which is fake food, right? If you've ever seen, I don't know about you, but if you ever seen like where they'll have a burger from like 10, 15 years ago and it looks exactly the same.
It is not biodegradable.
Exactly, right? So imagine what happens when your body's trying to process it so you can shit it out. That stuff is still in your body. All those chemicals.
Yeah.
Imagine how many years they last in your stomach, in your intestines, in your body. Right? So by much slothfulness, the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands, the house droppeth through. Just being idle. Now I'm not saying, because I know there was a GMS brother that got on me a long time ago when I said, like, you should take care of your temple, you should exercise. They were like, oh no, these bodies are going to decay. If you're exercising, you're working out, you're going off, you're being carnal, you're being fleshly. All these crazy ass things, right? But if you think about it, if we are the temple of the Most High, we should keep ourselves in decent shape, right? If you think of Yahushua, you think Yahushua was some big old bellied, like lazy, slothful person? I don't know about you, Og, but I imagine him pretty swole. You know what I mean?
I mean, he did fast
He
for
was
40 days.
He was a carpenter. He was walking around all the time in the heat. I bet you he was in shape. Right? To be able to fast, like you said, for that long, you got to be in some good. What was that magician? Did you ever see that magician that fasted for, I don't know, was it like a week or something?
What was it? It wasn't David Blaine, was it?
I don't remember who it was, but he was like hanging up on like this thing.
It was probably
You ever
David
saw
Blaine.
that?
I think he does some crazy stuff like that. He'll go underwater for hella long too.
So we know he's probably channeling that dark energy, you know. But at the same time, I mean, you got to be in pretty decent physical shape to be able to do something like that. Now, Yahushua being the Son of the Most High, obviously, he's able to do that through the Spirit. But as well, I know he wasn't no big old out of shape, slothful person, because I'm sure he took care of his temple, like the scriptures say, right?
Con.
So let me go back up. I know there's a couple comments. Kingdom Minded 144K. Why self-examination is important every day. So Khan, we have to self-examine ourselves every day. You could think of something today, work on it for a day, and then you're like, okay, I got this down. Look, now I'm prayed three times today because I was slacking. And then now you're slipping up in another area. Right? So every single day, it's a constant process until the kingdom comes, until we're in that new covenant. Hebrews 8, the 8th chapter, and Jeremiah, the 31st chapter. Until we're in that new covenant and we have the laws and everything put in our heart, in our mind, we're gonna have to keep examining ourselves, right? To make sure we're in the truth. Lee Israel, I saw some ants a couple of days ago. I felt like the Most High was trying to tell me stop being lazy. So Khan, if you could pull up Hebrews 2 and 4, Baruch. If you felt like the Most High, if you saw that and felt like the Most High was telling you to stop being lazy, then guess what? The Most High was telling you to stop being lazy, right?
Con. This is Hebrews chapter 2, verse 4. God also bearing them witness, both with signs and wonders, and with diverse miracles and gifts of the Holy Ghost, according to his own will.
Khan, if you could pull up Proverbs 20 and 24 too, Baruch. So it says, the Most High bears people witness with signs and wonders, right? So if you said you feel like that was a sign, let me go back up to it. You said, I felt like the Most High was trying to tell me to stop being lazy. How did he tell you to stop being lazy? By giving you a sign, right? And then you wondered. It says, Yahweh also bearing them witness both with signs and wonders. He's giving you a sign. He's making you wonder. I wonder if the Most High is telling me to stop being lazy. Then that's exactly what he was telling you, right? Go ahead, Art.
This is Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way? And if I may,
go ahead.
The Most High really is incredible. I know the brother was talking about the ants, how he felt that the Most High was talking to him, right? So then you pull up Hebrews 2 and 4, which is one of my favorite ones, bears his witness with signs and wonders. Before your live started, I sent you I had texted you a verse from Proverbs, basically saying this one right here, man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man understand his own way? And it's just the same thing, like the ants were talking to you, same way, he's talking to us right now, with diverse miracles and wonders and things of that nature.
Khan, exactly. And it's if you're in the spirit and you have the eyes to see, and you're not just going through, how now you can get caught in that spirit of you just going through life. You're not really paying attention to all these things. When you see or pay attention, the Most High gives you so many signs, right? When you have that discernment to see what he's doing and those eyes to see, it's really, like you said, he's incredible. It's a beautiful thing to witness and to see, right? So if the Most High put it on your spirit to see some ants, and let me read it one more time. And I saw some ants a couple of days ago. I felt like the Most High was trying to tell me stop being lazy, and that's exactly what it was telling you. And I highly recommend you take heed to that, right? Let me see. Messiah was a construction worker before he went into ministry. Khan, he was a carpenter, right? So we know he was in shape, right? The Israel, you think you're gonna be in King David army and you out of shape? Khan, I agree. He was a builder. So Khan, I worked. It was probably like 3 or 4 summers ago. My rib's dad, he's actually from Guatemala, but when he came over here, when he was like 17, I believe, he started doing construction work, and now he's a contractor, right? So I could tell you when we were working with him, man, and just mostly doing framing, carpentry, you get in shape real quick, or you quit, right? And that's what happened to a lot of people. Um, you can say he was in the creation business, Khan, just like his dad, right? King David was in shape. He threw a stone hella hard at the dirty Philistine. Khan, Khan, right? So now the Most High, I'm sure the Most High guided that, but exactly right. He was a shepherd and he was outdoors all the time too. So like, let me see. Kingdom Minded 144. If someone keeps backsliding into lust, is that an evil spirit that's trying to seek him or her out? Right? So any type of thing like that is an evil spirit, right? Because you have to understand, actually, if you could get a Proverbs, what is it, 24 and 16, I believe. Yeah, Proverbs 24 and 16.
This is Proverbs chapter
24 and 16.
And 16, Salakia. For a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief.
So actually, this past weekend, um, we were trying to explain this to a sister. Me and a couple of brothers went to it was like a big barbecue at a park for the Juneteenth thing, and the sister brought up this verse. Well, I wouldn't even say sister, right? But this Israelite woman that we were talking to brought up this verse, and she was saying, "You see, you can." She was using it how Christians use it, right? You can fall and you can fall as long as you get back up, right? But you have to. What we're trying to explain to her, which the Most High definitely blocks her understanding on it. We're trying to explain that 7 is the number of completion, meaning if you fall 7 times, right, and you rise up that 8th time, it's gonna be like, all right, that's it. I'm done with that, whatever it is. The example I always use is weed, right? If I could smoke for 14 years of my life, almost every single day, and then it came to that point where it was, all right, that's the 7th time. That's it. That's the number of completion. I'm not gonna do it again. There has to come a point where you get to that in whatever it is that you're dealing with. If you could get Matthew 17 and 21, Matthew 17 and 21. So the brother Lee Israel said, "Can I get on the live with y'all?" I would, but number one, I don't know you personally, and I've had people when I would do Zoom lessons, I've had people come on there that I let them and they go crazy, right? So I would say DM me first, and we'll talk and stuff. And the other thing is my connection is real slow right now. So if I get another person on here, it's gonna slow it down even more. It keeps lagging and cutting off as it is right now, right? But going back to the brother's question, if someone keeps backsliding into lust, is that an evil spirit? Is that an evil spirit that's trying to seek him or her out? So Khan, most definitely. Just like the lazy spirit, this is what you got to do. Go ahead, out.
This is Matthew 17 and 21. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting.
Khan. So do you know who said that?
Yahushua.
Exactly, right? That's Yahushua saying that. Yahushua said these kinds of spirits don't go out but by prayer and by fasting. And if you read that that account, there was a devil in a child, right? And let me go to it real quick. The disciples were saying, "Hey, how come we couldn't get it? How come we couldn't get that devil off of him?" Right? And if you could pull up verse 20 as well, Babu Kashaw. Verse 20. So I'm gonna read 19 and So like I'm gonna read 19 and then you can read 20. It says, then came the disciples to Yahushai apart and said, why could not we cast him out? So go ahead.
On 20. And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you.
Go ahead.
21. Howbeit, this kind goeth not
So,
out but by prayer and fasting.
so he said you didn't have enough faith. Number one, right? Because they said, why couldn't we cast out that devil? The first thing he said is you didn't have enough faith. If you have the faith as a grain of mustard seed, then you'll be able to do it. They didn't have enough faith. Remove hence to yonder Salakia. If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible to you. So you have to have faith, number one, right? But then the second thing he says, look, which comes with works. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out, but prayer and fasting. So now, spirits for us go out by prayer, by fasting, by obedience, us personally, right? You got to fast that demon off of you, because they're feeding off of lusts. They're feeding off of any type of pleasure of the flesh, right? So we have to fast those away. But also Yahushua was saying, I mean, like you just brought up, he was fasting, right? He fasted for 40 days at one point. He was constantly fasting. He was constantly in prayer. All throughout the scriptures we see him praying. So these things helped Yahushua too personally to get that devil off of that person, which we know he's the perfect example. So us using this as an example, if you replace mountain with whatever, right? A mountain just represents something that you see as very, very big, right? If ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. It could be the spirit of laziness. It could be the spirit, what did the brother say? Oh, of lust, right? I could tell y'all personally, I had some lust demons in my past before I came into the truth, right? Most men, if not all men, do at one point or another, right? Woke soul, shalom, shalom. So hopefully that answers your question, right? If you could give me Proverbs 31 and 27, Proverbs 31 and 27. We'll go back up. Let me see. So it's Ecclesiastes 10 and 18. This is where we had left off before we got the questions, right? It says, by much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. So this could be your house. This could be your temple, right? If you're slothful in these scriptures, you're going to start spiritually decaying. If you're idle and not being in these scriptures and not applying what you're learning, your temple is going to start dropping through, right? This could also be your car. You're not taking care of it, it's going to start breaking down. You can apply this to all different areas of life. But go ahead.
Proverbs 31:27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
Khan. So every sister that wants to be a sister, right, wants to be a Proverbs 31 woman, or says that they're a Proverbs 31 woman. So if you want to be a Proverbs 31 woman, you cannot eat the bread of idleness. right? What does that mean? If you're looking well to the ways of your household, right? Is everybody fed? Are my children being taught correctly? Right? Do they have manners? Is my husband being taken care of in whatever ways I'm supposed to be taking care of him? Right? Is the house clean? All of these things, Salaki, cut off for a second. All of these things are keeping you from being idle, right? They're keeping you from being idle. If you could look up, but you know what? I have it marked. I know it's Sirach 33. Let's see, 33 and 27. Sirach 33
Con.
and 27.
This is Sirach 33 and 27. Send him to labor that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil.
Send him to labor that he be not idle. Idle around doing nothing, right? Idleness, when you don't have nothing to do, when you're not working, whether it be in the scriptures, so like I'm talking about trouble. Whether you're not in the scriptures, whether you're not working for your family, for your house, for whatever it is that you need, it's going to bring evil, right? It's going to teach you to do evilly. Okay? So going back to Proverbs 31, a Proverbs 31 woman is not going to be idle. She's always going to be, she's going to have something to do. Now, I'm not saying you can't relax, right? There's a time and a place for everything, Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. But for the most part, most of the women that I know or have known personally that don't have jobs, that don't go to school, that maybe they don't have children, or they do have children and they're lazy and they don't take care of them. They're just giving them snacks instead of feeding them, instead of cooking for them, right? Here's a Lunchable, right? For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they got Lunchables, or they got a can of what is it, SpaghettiOs or something, right? That's being idle. Let's see. I think that the bread is also representative of sluggish worship. So, Khan, of course, right? It could be looking at it spiritually as well. It could be because, like the brother said earlier, this is the bread of life, right? This is the bread of life. If you're being idle with getting this bread, right? You're not eating of it every day. So going back to Sirach 33:27, can you read it one more time out?
Con. Send him to labor that he be not idle, for idleness teacheth much evil.
It's going to teach you much evil to be idle. And if you think about it, like those types of spirits just tend to drag on and drag on. You get comfortable being idle, right? You get comfortable being lazy. And that just leads to another area of life. You could be lazy in this area and then it spreads to this. And then you hang out with people and then they start getting lazy too. And it's just a cycle, right? Kingdom Minded 144. If we go off, is it always good to self-examine and start fresh with prayer and fasting? So, Khan, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Definitely, I would definitely recommend those two things, and of course, getting in the Word, right? Getting in the Word as quickly as you can, right? Martin and Kayla Anderson, as in being lukewarm, right? As being lukewarm. Oh, okay, Khan. So to go along with the representative of sluggish worship, Khan. So that could be going back to, I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but I was giving the example that there's some people, We went over 2 Timothy 2:15, right? How you're supposed to study to show yourself approved. Study to show yourself approved. Some people don't study, they just read, right? That would be lukewarm or being idle in the scriptures. You're reading, yeah, I just read 2 chapters, and I've had this happen recently. There was a sister, yeah, I read these 2 chapters today. Okay, what'd you learn from it? Oh, well, it was something about repenting. Well, what good did that do you, right? That's not studying. You would be better off reading. What were we on? Proverbs 6 and 6 through 11 about being idle, right? About being like the ants and being wise. If you read those, 6 verses 5 times and really understand it, that's going to benefit you way more than, okay, I read 3 chapters today and I don't remember nothing, right? It doesn't say read to show yourself approved. It says study to show yourself approved. So that could be a lukewarm way of studying, right? Licks. What happens if you willingly sinned when in the world, but you come back and sincerely repent? So, if you could give me Acts 2 and 38, Balkashar, Acts 2 and 38. I've been thinking the Most High is not dealing with me, right? So that's not for me or the brother or anybody to be able to answer and say, the Most High is not dealing with you, or the Most High is dealing with you, right? That's something that would have to be revealed to you through the Spirit. But I will tell you this. I'll wait for the brother to get the verse.
Got it.
To answer your question, right? Go ahead, Art.
Acts 2 and 38. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost.
Okay, and if you could get me what is it? Hebrews 10:26. Okay, sure. Hebrews 10 and 26. So you said, what happens if you willingly sinned when in the world, but you come back and sincerely repent, right? So my question to you, what is it? Licks would be, have you been baptized in Yahweh's name to receive remission of sins? Because if you haven't, then of course you can be baptized and become a new person, and all things will become new, like it says in 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. Right? You'll become a new person. All things become new. All the old things done away with. Right? I'm gonna read this real quick. Or if you want to read it out.
Hebrews 10 and 26. For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
Okay, so some people jump to this verse and they'll say, look, you already knew the truth. You willfully sinned after you received the truth. So now there's no more sacrifice for you. Right? And I've heard people condemn other people based off of this. Right? If you could get John, I think it's 5 and 11, John 5 and 11. And but going back to this, right? What most people don't understand is that if you haven't been baptized, you always have that opportunity to be baptized, right? And become a new person. So let me see. So have you been baptized? I believe you're a sister. Have you been baptized, sis? She said, but I've been studying, praying, fasting, trying all I can, but I don't know. Have you been baptized in the name of Yahweh for remission of sins, like it says in Acts 2 and 38? Or do you believe in baptism for remission of sins? Right? Because I know a lot of Israelites don't believe in baptism for remission of sins. But again, like I've always said, Salakia, go ahead.
Salakia. Just from personal testimony, I know that when I came into the truth, Um, I was just focused on serving the Most High, fearing the Most High, and learning as much as I can, being diligent, and just reading sincerely and asking, for forgiveness, and verbally saying those sins to Him, and just asking for that wisdom. I wasn't I wasn't seeking monetary gain. I wasn't seeking materialistic things. I was just seeking my purpose and asking Him that His will be done in the long term. I wasn't seeking any of those other things secondary to serving the Most High. And just off of testimony, um, I've I found out about the truth about a year and a half ago, and up to today is when I'm starting to fully observe the benefits that or the rewards that the Most High is giving me, but it's not something that you just get overnight, you know. You have to be diligent and have that spiritual
Uh,
eye to see, like the brother was mentioning earlier, you have to see the signs, and they're there. You just have to be diligent. You have to cut a lot of things off, and it just goes to show that the things, they might not come really fast, so you have to really be persistent, and you have to be diligent, and just staying in scripture and having faith more than anything, just being persistent and having that faith, because it won't happen overnight. He just won't, hand it over to you like that.
Con. I agree, 100%. It's not one day you just wake up and now the Most High is giving you all these signs, and now everything is you're able to keep the Sabbath without even it being grievous, and you're in the spirit, so you know how to deal with all these different things, right? It doesn't just happen like that. It's like if you go to the gym and you go and try and bench 300 pounds, what's gonna happen? You're gonna get hurt. It's not gonna work out, right? You got to build yourself up, and it's the same thing in the spirit. You have to build yourself up, right? So she said, wait, what does it mean to be baptized? You want to read this one more time, Mark?
Which one is this again? Salakia?
Acts 2:38.
Yeah. Acts 2:38. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahushai Hamashiach, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost.
So like my thing cut off for a second, so it's probably gonna do it on the video. If you could read it one more time, please.
Con. Acts 2:38. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahushai Hamashiach, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost.
So being baptized, but notice it says repent, right? So when you're coming to the understanding of, or when you come into the understanding of I'm going to get baptized, the first thing you should be doing is, okay, I need to start repenting. I know I need to keep Sabbath. I'm going to keep Sabbath. I know I can't eat shellfish or crab or whatever it is. I'm going to start doing that. To the best of your ability, you need to start repenting, because when you get baptized in the name of Yahushua Hamashiach, it is for the remission of sins. Meaning all your sins in the past are done away with, as if they didn't even happen. Right? If you could pull up that verse out, 2 Corinthians 5:17, Baba Kashaw. 2 Corinthians 5:17. So it says, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. Right? So in one way or another, and I talked to multiple brothers and sisters, after they get baptized, the majority of them will be able to say, look, I got baptized and now I'm more diligent. Some will say, now I have better understanding. Now I have the Spirit quicken me and I understand things faster, right? Now, like me, for example, I feel like discernment. I got a lot of discernment, like after that, right? So being baptized, because you said, where is it? Wait, what does it mean to be baptized? That's what it means to be baptized, right? So go ahead, Art.
2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new.
So when you get baptized in Hamashiach, and if you read Romans, the 6th chapter, right, like the whole first half, a little bit more than the first half of the chapter, it's going to tell you being baptized in Yahushai, you're going to start walking a new way, right? Baptism doesn't count if like I've heard many brothers say before, if I baptize you and you're gay, right? And you get baptized. And then later on tonight, you go and do some gay act with another man. Your baptism really didn't count. It's of the spirit as well, right? But that's why, like it says in Acts 2:38, it says, repent and be baptized, right? The more you start repenting before, you're getting used to not doing these things. Now it's done away with. And now you get baptized and you're new. But what good is it going to do you if you're doing all these things and then you get baptized and now all that's done away with and you're not walking new? You didn't become new. You just keep doing the same thing, right? Which is why I highly recommend that you start preparing for baptism, as I know the brother Jomar did, as I know I did, as I know my rib did, as I know many people did. But some people just get the spirit to where, look, I need to get baptized right now. And that's up to the person who's baptizing them's discernment to deal with that accordingly, right? But me personally, the way I see it is like this. What if I baptize someone today who I think isn't ready, or who I feel through discernment isn't ready, and then tomorrow they do the same thing, and then I'm like, damn, I should have listened to my discernment. They could have got baptized maybe in a week. Now they're ready. You know what I mean? So discernment and praying for discernment is a very important thing. Martin and Kayla Anderson, what's awesome in exclamation, the gift of the Spirit after the repentance and baptism, it's a reward. So Khan, it is a reward, right? Because faith without works is dead. Baptism, a lot of people will say it's a carnal thing because you're getting your body cleansed. And like, what is this flesh, right? But it's faith that you're going to get remission of sins. Faith that Yahushua died for us, and because of that, we get remission of sins. And the works, because you're actually getting it done, right? His spirit is an awesome gift, Khan. Okay, I see, Khan says. So if you're new and you have any questions or whatever, you can hit up me, this brother, any of the brothers from Church of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, are the people I really associate myself with. Baptism in immersion. Baptism is immersion, to immerse yourself into obedience, right? To immerse yourself into obedience. So Khan, it's literal, because like we've been saying this whole lesson, there's the physical and the spiritual, right? So if you look at Acts 2:38, which we just read, when you read that word baptized, it says, when you look it up in the Greek concordance, which is what it meant in Greek, it means to be baptized. It's baptizo, which means to be immersed in water, right? So we look at it on the physical side, we literally get immersed in water. And we look at it in the spiritual side, we get immersed into the living waters, which is what? It's the word, it's the doctrine, right? And that what comes with that is the obedience, like you just said, right? To immerse yourself into obedience. And Acts 10:48 and 49 says he commanded them to be baptized in water, right? So if the word commands you to do something and you do it, that's obedience, right? James 2:20. If you could get Proverbs 26 and 16 while I read this. Proverbs 26 and 16. Baukasha. So this is James 2:20. But will thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? right? So you could have all the faith in the world. You could believe the Bible is real. You could believe the Most High is real. You could believe He sent His Son to die for your sins. But if you don't have the works to do what the Word says, then guess what? You're dead. As the body without the spirit, faith without works is dead. That's what it says in the same chapter, right?
Um, this is Proverbs 26:16. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason.
Oh, Con, okay, we already went over that one, right? If you could give me Proverbs, 1 second, 20, and no, it's 24, 24 and 14 through 16. Proverbs 24, 14 through 16.
Con. This is Proverbs 24:14. So shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. When thou hast found it, then there shall be a reward, and the expectation shall not be cut off.
So like, that's my bad. It's 26, 14 through 16.
26. You're good. 14.
26, 14, 16.
Twenty-six, 14. As the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful upon his bed.
So as a door turneth upon its hinges, right? So how many times you think you open the door in your room or in your house, Doc?
Many times, several times a day.
A day, right? So probably hundreds, thousands of times, maybe.
Almost definitely.
So it says, as the door turneth upon his hinges, so doth the slothful upon his bed. Right? You just want to keep sleeping and keep turning and turning and turning, right? At like how many times you've opened that door, right? And I know a lot of people that I used to hang out with that all we would do is smoke weed and it's like what was it, Biggie, party and bullshit. We just party and bullshit. That's all we would do.
That's crazy.
And because of that, right? We've all been there. We've been there. Because of that, that's all you want to do. I remember a point in my life where I was hanging out with a couple dudes and I lived with them, and we would wake up, we'd eat, we'd smoke, or we'd smoke and then eat and then smoke and then go to sleep and then wake up and then smoke and then eat and then smoke and then probably eat again and then take a nap, and then you wake up and it's nighttime, so now you're gonna smoke and drink and eat and smoke and drink, and you're just sleeping and you're just being slothful and lazy all day long, right? And I know some people that are my age, right, in the late 20s or even 30 or Salakia cut off, that are doing the same thing, right? Over and over and over. 15, go ahead.
Con. The slothful hideth his hand in his bosom, it grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth.
Imagine you're so lazy. Let's say you're sitting back, right? You have your hands on your stomach and you're just chilling, and you got some food and you're too lazy to bring it up to your mouth, right? That would be pretty lazy. But if thinking about it physically, right? But thinking about it spiritually, it's even worse, because let's say the Most High gives you some understanding. He gives you some food. You know, the Bible is the bread of life. It's the living waters. But you're too lazy to bring it to your mouth. Obviously, symbolically, right? You're too lazy to study. You're too lazy to watch some videos, maybe take some notes. You're too lazy to go precept upon precept. You just want to read chapter because that's the easiest thing to do, and you get no understanding out of it. Right? It grieves you to bring this word to your mouth, to eat up the bread of life, to study to study and get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High already put in front of you, right? Because it says the slothful hideth his hand in his bosom, it grieveth him to bring it again to his mouth. If you're too lazy to bring that food to your mouth, that means you already have some food. It's the same thing with this word. If you've already had, you know that this word gives you understanding, and you're too lazy to read through it, then you're being a slothful person, right? Go ahead and read 16,
26:16. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason.
Oh, Salakia. So yeah, that's the one we read, right? So the sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men that can render a reason. There's nothing you could tell a slothful man to get him out of his slothfulness. If he, in his own head, he thinks that slothfulness, that's it, right? We know that the word is it for us, right? But some people have it in their own conceit, in their own head, that being lazy and doing as little as possible throughout life, that's the way to go. That's the thing to do, right? You would give me Proverbs 15 and 19, Proverbs 15 and 19.
This is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 19. The way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain.
Khan, if you could get Sirach 39 and 24. Sirach 39 and 24. So it says, the way of the slothful man is as a hedge of thorns, right? The way of a slothful man is going to be a tough way to go. It's going to be a painful way to go, right? Because like it said, we've been reading all these scriptures. It's going to lead to your poverty. It's going to lead to you not having anything. It's going to lead to you being hungry, spiritually and physically, right? But the way of the righteous is made plain, right? When you start learning the law, statutes, and commandments, and you start keeping them, it's like I forgot the brother or sister's name. They commented earlier. They said that that blessing, that gift of the Spirit, it's like a beautiful thing, right? One of the things that's really beautiful, when you start following the word, the Most High is going to bless you, and it's going to be a whole lot plainer and a lot simpler for you to start understanding what you have to do, right? You want to read that Sirach 39?
Sirach 39 and 24. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked.
So as his ways are plain unto the holy, right? He makes the ways of the righteous is made plain, is what it said in Proverbs 15 and 19. The way of the righteous is made plain. As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked, right? It's going to be a stumbling block to a wicked person to try and follow it, to try to get understanding, right? Because they're not following the laws. They're not following the commands, the things that he says to do. As soon as you start learning anything, right? You start reading, you should be applying what you learn. Because if you don't start applying what you learn, if you get James 4 and 17, Baba Kashaw, James 4 and 17, if you don't start applying what you're learning, guess what? You knew it was a sin, right? So what's the Most High going to do? He's going to start punishing you. He's going to start putting stumbling blocks in front of you because you're being wicked, right? As his ways are plain unto the holy, so are they stumbling blocks unto the wicked. Go ahead, Art.
James 4:17. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin.
So you know you're not supposed to work on the Sabbath. You know you're not supposed to disobey your parents. You know you're not supposed to steal. You know that you're not supposed to pray to other gods or bow yourself down to other gods or do all these other things. You're not supposed to idolize. You're not supposed to covet, whatever it may be, right? Now that you know this, guess what? The Most High knows that you know. He made you to know at that particular point in time for a reason. And now everything you do after it, you know you're either going to inherit a blessing or a curse because it is a sin. It's not that it wasn't a sin before, but you didn't know before, right? It's like that Luke 12:48, which we read earlier. If you could bring that up one last time, Mark Rokashaw, Luke 12:48. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. So right now we're telling you, you need to stop being lazy. You need to stop being lazy in the scriptures. You need to stop being lazy physically as well, right? Not working for your home, working to prepare for what's coming, inflation, hunger, famine, whatever you want to call it, right? So you know it is a sin to be lazy, because if you're lazy, you're not going to pray. You're not going to study. You're not going to provide for your house, right? If you could just read this first part of it out, Baukashaw.
Khan says Yahushua speaking, Luke 12:48. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes.
So it says, he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes. I'm going to read it again because it cut off. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes. So you didn't know certain things were a sin, but you were committing them, right? It was still a sin, but the Most High knows, okay, this person was doing it out of ignorance. They're going to get punished, but it's not going to be that bad, right? You shall be beaten with few stripes, right? But if you do know, how much more are you going to get punished, right? The Most High knows you knew, and you still went against it, right? And that's why it says, for unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall much be required. Just the fact that he gave us knowledge, wisdom, understanding, he gave us all of this word to understand. Now we are required to follow it, right? We'll finish off with just a couple more verses. If you get Proverbs 19 and 15. Proverbs 19 and 15.
Come. This is Proverbs 19:15. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
Khan. So, like, if you could read it one more time,
Khan. Proverbs 19:15. Slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger.
So slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, right? Spiritually, especially. You're being slothful and you're not being in the scriptures, right? You're not studying, you're not praying, you're not watching videos, you're not taking notes, right? Because to be honest with you, when I first came into the truth, that's the first thing I did, probably for a good 2 years. Of course, I would study on my own. I was kind of doing it like I know the brother Jomar did too, trying to read through the whole Bible, right? But along the way, I was still taking note. I was watching at least 2-3 videos, 4 or 5 videos sometimes every day, taking notes. And at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, it was from all different camps, GMS, IUIC, House of Israel, right? All these other different camps. But as you grow in your journey, and through the Spirit, right? And if you're praying, if you would get a Sirach 4:28, Bob Kashaw, Sirach 4:28. If you're praying that the Most High guides you in truth, right? That's the most important thing that you can pray for, that the Most High guides you in truth, because you're gonna see all these different camps and all these different people, right? And all these different doctrines and understandings and philosophies, and you're gonna have to ask that He guides you in truth, right?
This is Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
So if you strive for the truth, the actual truth, right? Then the Most High is going to fight for you. He's going to take out people or take out things from your life that you don't need. He's going to help you with your understanding. So like as I was saying, going back to 19 and 15, slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, right? What I would do when I first came into the truth, because I know the sister said she was pretty new in the truth. And if you're not married, or even if you are and your husband says, go ahead, you can watch it, whatever. That was how I would take notes, and then I'll be like, all right, this, I can line it up with these scriptures. This, yeah, okay, this makes sense. This is totally off. I know 3 other scriptures that go against the way this person broke this down, right? That's how you're going to learn. But slothfulness casteth into a deep sleep, and an idle soul shall suffer hunger. Whether it be physically, you're not going to have nothing to eat because you're not working. Whether it be physically, you're not going to have nothing at the end of this year when inflation happens, or at the beginning of next year, or whether it be spiritually, more importantly, you're being a sluggard, you're being idle, so your soul isn't going to have nothing to eat. You're not going to have this bread of life to be eating. And let me tell you, that's a miserable life. If someone is slothful due to behavioral issues, but productive when medicated, is he still in sin? So now that would be a case to case type of thing, right? Because behavioral issues, that depends on what are you specifically talking about when it comes to behavioral issues. Like, what would the issue be? The other thing is, when you say when they're medicated, they're being productive, what kind of medication is it, right? Because when in the Bible, it talks about pharmakia, right? It talks about sorcery, and the word in Hebrew, in Greek, is pharmakia, which is pharmaceuticals or medicine, right? So that medication may not necessarily be helping them in the way that you think that it is. And there could be a natural alternative to that medication, right? If you could get a Sirach 38 and 4, Sirach 38 and 4 about Kashaw. To get off topic, but just to bring out that scripture real quick.
This is Sirach 38 and 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them.
So, yeah, the Most High made medicines out of the earth, right? He that is wise will not abhor them. Okay? And I know this is a real big one with certain people, because I understand there's certain medicines that keep people alive, right? That are from doctors. And we have to understand that we have to be wise in all things. So if you're on a medication for, like, I have an uncle, for example, who's on like antidepressants and things of that nature. And he just decided, I'm going to just get off of them, right? And he started having hallucinations, and he started, like, for lack of a better term, he started tripping out. He was seeing things, he was hearing voices, he was sitting at the table, and he was like, man, this cat keeps rubbing on my leg. There's no cat in the house, right? So you have to be wise. And when it comes to medication and things like that, you would have to find some type of alternative, first of all, that is created out of the earth, natural. But at the same time, you would have to slowly wean yourself off of whatever medication that you're doing. Because I know one of my cousins, her son was born addicted to heroin, right? And because of that, they had to keep giving him I forgot what the medical term for it is, but they would give him like what is it, morphine, I think, which is basically like legal heroin. They would have to give him little doses every day to wean him off of it, or else he would start having withdrawals and he would start seizuring and all these other things, right? But after that happened too, the doctor actually recommended like a very strict diet of a lot of organic food and not very much sugar and all these other things, right? Which that would actually I mean, the sister didn't answer the question, but that's fine. Another thing I would say, and I know we've talked about this, Daniel, the first chapter, when he fasted, right? And all he ate, right? All they took away his meat. What does it say? It says, this is Daniel 1:15. Right? It says, and at the end of the 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Right? So Daniel and Belteshazzar and Shedrick and Meshach and Hananiah, they ate nothing but greens, right? For a period of time, and they actually got healthier, right? They got healthier than the people that were eating meat and eating the king's portion of food, right? So another thing, eating healthy food is going to help your health in general, right? Can we kill an actual demon? What do you think? What do you think about that, Ak? Can you kill an actual demon?
I mean, man, if you know the past me.
Exactly. So it depends on in what type of angle you're trying to hit this question with, right? If like the brother said, if you knew the past him, if you knew the past me, we've definitely killed our demons, at least to the point where they're not on us anymore, right? But going to a scientific, which I don't ascribe to any type of science unless it's backed up with the word. But when you're going with science, right? Energy, any type of energy, it doesn't dissipate, it doesn't disappear, right? It's transferred. So you can kill a demon on you, but guess what? It's just like with Legion. What happened? Yahushua ran the 3,000 pigs, or at first it went from Legion, then the Legion of Demons went into the pigs, then the pigs fell off the cliff, and they had 3,000 spirits on them. Then when the people from the city came and they saw that the guy was healed, the dude was healed, and what happened? They got all scared and they took off. Why did they do that? Because they know all those spirits are roaming around now, right? So you can kill the demons like off of you in that sense, right? But that energy is going to be transferred to somewhere else, right? It's like in the scriptures, it says that the Most High made evil angels, right? He said he creates light and darkness. He creates righteousness. He creates evil. All these things. We cannot destroy righteousness. We cannot destroy evil. We cannot destroy an angel, whether it be a wicked angel or a angel on the right-hand side, right? So we can't kill an actual demon, but we can definitely get them get demons off of ourselves and off of others, right? Which actually, Ak, if you could give me a Hebrew 6:1, Baba
Con.
Kashar, real quick. Loose swish, ADHD. Okay, so without going too far into this, I've actually looked into ADHD, Salakia. In the past years, I've looked into it pretty extensively. And the man, let me just tell you this, right? If I don't know if you're a sister or if you're a brother. If you're a brother, DM me on Instagram and we could talk more about it. If you're a sister and you're not married, DM me. If not, then maybe I either ask permission from your husband or get your husband to talk to me. ADHD is a completely fabricated disease or whatever you want to call it. Okay, the man that made ADHD, I forget, his name escapes me right now. On his deathbed, he said they paid him so much money to say that ADHD was a real thing. It's not a real thing. It's not a real disease. The medicine that they give children for ADHD, Ritalin, I know because they tried to give it to me when I was younger. But they did give it to me at one point, right? That is a complete form of sorcery, witchcraft, pharmakia in the Greek, right? And there is way more how could I say it, side effects that come from that than it's helping. It's basically a form of what is it? Um Breaking Bad. What's the drug that they do?
Crystal meth.
Okay, yeah, crystal meth. Crystal meth. It is basically a legal form of crystal meth. That's what Ritalin and those ADHD medicines are. The cellular structure, like the of how they make it, is almost exactly the same. So if you want to talk about it more, I can send you information. I can send you videos. I looked into that extensively because they said I had it at one point. I know a brother that used to be in the truth that they gave him medicine for ADHD, and now he has like a little nervous, like little tick, like from actual drugs and stuff. He has other physical problems, which I won't get into more. But yeah, if you want more information on that, just definitely message me on Instagram. The Wada Ak. This is my Instagram in case you don't have it. Kingdom's Path 144. But yeah, going back to the brother's question real quick, because he said, can we kill an actual demon? Right? You want to go ahead and read this out real quick, Bro Shaw?
This is Hebrews 6:1. Therefore, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Hamashiach, let us go on to perfection, not laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works and of faith towards God.
Okay, so this is the foundation. If you could get verse 2 as well, I'll go ahead and read it. Right. So the foundation is repenting from dead works. You learned the laws and now you're keeping them. Right? That's the first one. Faith. You're not gonna start keeping these laws if you don't have faith, right? And Salakia, go ahead and read it out, verse 2.
Hebrews 6:2. Of the doctrine of baptisms and of laying on of hands and of resurrection of the dead and of eternal judgment.
And then verse 3 says, and this will we do if Yahweh permit. So the first thing we got to do, right? The foundation is repenting from dead works, following the laws, faith towards the Most High and towards His Son, Yahweh Shai. And then 2, the doctrine of baptisms, right? If you haven't seen the live that me and the brother Hawayala and Azariah did, it was probably a month or 2 ago. It was probably 3-4 hours long. I would recommend you see that. We went over water baptism, and fire baptism, going through the trials and things of that nature. That's another thing. But then look what it says: and of laying on of hands, and of resurrection of the dead, and of eternal judgment. So now let's think about the resurrection of the dead. Do you know anybody that's ever brought somebody back from the dead, like personally, an Israelite, a Hebrew in the truth?
That has brought somebody back from the dead? Not personally, no.
Lazarus type of no, right? So I do know if you want to get Proverbs 21 and 16, Baba Kashaw, Proverbs 21 and 16. I
Con,
do know many brothers and sisters, brothers and even sisters that have been used by the Most High to bring someone back from the dead, to resurrect them from the dead, right? I've been blessed and privileged, and I'm sure you have as well, to help somebody in some way, shape, or form to do this as well, right? To resurrect, help be used to resurrect someone from the dead, because we know it's through the Spirit, it's all the Most High.
yeah, Salaki, I
But
misunderstood.
go ahead and read, Khan. Go
Con,
ahead
this
and
is
read
Proverbs
Proverbs 21, Balkashaw.
21:16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
So if you're not in the way of understanding, if you're not in the truth, if you're not trying to walk in the law, statutes, commandments, and precepts of this book, guess what? You're dead, right? You're in the congregation of the dead. You are spiritually dead, right? So when somebody is used to bring somebody into the truth, then that is them helping to resurrect the dead, right? Now, some because and I just asked that just because I know there's some brothers that that'll say, or not even brothers, like people, Christians, things of that nature, and they'll be like, well, you can't lay your hands on somebody and you can't resurrect somebody from the dead, right? Or even atheists or other people that don't believe this word, they'll say things like that. Because in Hebrews 6 and 2 it says you'll learn the doctrine of baptisms and the resurrection of the dead, right? But we are used to resurrect people in the spiritual way, right? And actually, if you could get James 5, I know it's the last two verses. James 5, the last two, I think it's 19 and 20.
Con.
Con,
James 19,
19 and 20.
Salaki, James 5:19. Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth and one convert him, verse 20, let him know that he which converted the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death and shall hide a multitude of sin.
Con, there you go. Let him know that he which converted the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death. That's resurrection, right? You were spiritually dead. You were in the congregation of the dead. And now the Most High used somebody to convert you. You're converted from death into life, right? That's resurrection of the dead. That's exactly what that's talking about. And when you do that, it says, not only do you save a soul from death, but you shall hide a multitude of sins, right? So there is always the opportunity, or you have to look at spreading the word as an opportunity to hide a multitude of sins. If you tell somebody, say you see them eating pork and you've never told them before, and now you tell them, hey, you know what? You're not supposed to eat that. Leviticus 11 and 7 says, you shall not eat the swine. It's unclean to you. What if they were just, it clicks in their head and then I'm not going to do it no more. Not only are you helping to convert his soul, but you just hit, the Most High was like, okay, you know what? Those sins, what you did yesterday, I'm going to forget about that. You just helped bring another person into the truth, or farther down the line of the truth, right? So that goes along with the whole resurrection of the dead, right? Go up in the comments. Kingdom minded 144. Them ADHD pills got crack in it. Con, it's bad. If you really look into it, that whole thing is just, it's terrible, man. It's terrible. Natasha, Where does the term Jake come from? It's okay, Khan, you already answered that. Jake is Jacob, right? You know what? People always have some type of slang term for everything. Jake is Jacob, okay? So is it like guy or derogatory? So it just means that you're an Israel. Okay, Khan, yeah, like the brother said. From my understanding, it's just a way of referring to fellow Israelites, right? That's just, you're just calling them a Jake. A Jake, you call it an Israelite a Jake, and a female Israelite an Eve, right? But that's what most people do. Is behemoth on earth? Actually, I was talking to a brother about this. Send me a message, a DM through Instagram, sis, and I'll send you a good video on it. A brother just did a good video on Enoch and on Godzilla, right? And Behemoth. Okay, Con. So let's go back to the whole. I think I only had like 2 more verses. Hold on. Oh, shoot, let me go back to it. But you know what? We could just finish. Go to it's Ezekiel 16. I'll get the verse right now. We could finish with like 2 more verses. How long we've been? It's almost 3 hours in already. 16 and 49. Ezekiel 16 and 49.
This is Ezekiel 16:49. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy.
So what was in the hand of her daughters? Idleness, right? Idleness. Being lazy, not wanting to do nothing, right? So we all know what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, right? We know what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. No longer exists. That's the same thing that's going to happen to us if we want to keep being idle. And notice it says the abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters, right? The abundance of idleness. A lot of people are abundant in idleness. In the scriptures, they're idle, they're lazy. When it comes to work, they're idle, they're lazy. When it comes to teaching their children, they're idle, they're lazy. When it comes to teaching their households, their wives, they're idle, they're lazy, right? When it comes to preparing for things that are coming in the future, they're idle, they're lazy. It's an abundance of idleness, right? An abundance of idleness. Let's go to Proverbs. We can finish with Proverbs 21 and 25. Proverbs 21 and 25.
This is Proverbs 21, verse 25. The desire of the slothful killeth him, for his hands refuse to labor.
The desire of the slothful killeth him, for his hands refuse to labor. All the things that you desire, if you refuse to labor for them, whether it be the kingdom, that should be the number one desire we all have, right? You can desire it as much as you want, but you're going to die desiring for that, and you're not going to get it if you're not willing to labor for it. If your hands refuse to labor for it, guess what? You're going to die with that desire, right? If you desire, you can plug in any type of desire you want here. If you want your own home, you're not willing to work for it, right? And I'm not saying we have enough time to do all these things, but just an example. If you want to be a doctor, right? If you're not willing to work for it, it's not going to happen. You want to make it to the kingdom, you're not willing to work for it, it's not going to happen. You want to have a wife and rule over her in the right way, but you're not willing to work in the scriptures and get knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to provide for her spiritually, it's not going to happen because you refuse to labor, right? So actually, let's finish with 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10. I believe we had already read it, but we'll finish with that.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10. For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat.
So if you don't want to work, guess what? According to the Most High, you're not even going to eat, or you shouldn't eat, right? So spiritually, the Most High makes the word play out perfectly. Like physically, you might be able to get away with it. Say you live with your parents, you live with a friend, you live with your aunt, your uncle, your family, whatever it is. The word might say you are not supposed to eat unless you work, and they let you get away with it, right? But the Most High makes sure that He keeps that perfect balance. And spiritually, you can't get past this. If you're not willing to work in the scriptures, then you are not going to eat of the blessings. You are not going to eat of the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that's going to keep you stable in all the things that are going to come soon, that are already coming upon the earth right now, right? Because like we were talking about, was it yesterday, how in the Navy, they're trying to make it mandatory to have the vaccine. And then I know there's some businesses, right? There's some businesses that are doing the same thing. So things are already starting to happen. But like the brother mentioned earlier, there's famine already going on all around the world, right? We're living in Babylon the Great, one of the greatest kingdoms. So of course it hasn't hit here that bad yet, right? But if you look up Skid Row in California, that looks like a damn third world country, right? Tens of thousands of homeless people, tens of thousands in one of the most well-known cities in the whole world, in Los Angeles. That's just a little sight of what's to come, right? So if you don't eat, if any would not work, neither should he eat. And I'm talking about that spiritually, right? You want to be slothful, you can have that slothful spirit, and that sluggard spirit, or you can have the spirit of the Most High, because like we read in Genesis, the first chapter, what was the first thing he did? He started working, put everything in order, and then he rested. We have a day of rest, which is the Sabbath, of course, which we are commanded to keep. And that's when that's when you can be as lazy as you want, besides, of course, studying, praying with your family. But it is a day of rest, right? So you could take it as a day of rest. Like we've talked about many times, like sometimes it's throughout the week, and then you're like, yes, it's Sabbath. Sabbath's coming up. You know what I mean? We need that day of rest. And the Most High knows we needed it. That's why he gave it to us, right? So whether it be a woman, a Proverbs 31 woman, I think it was Proverbs 31 and 27. It says she doesn't eat the bread of idleness. Whether it be a man, you have to provide for your family, so you can't be idle, right? 1 Timothy 5 and 8. No matter who you are, you can't be idle, and you can't fall into that spiritual sleep, right? Because that is going to kill you, right? So Proverbs chapter 6, go to the ants, be wise, and see how they study their ways, right? And we'll go ahead and finish with this, and then I'll close it out. Go ahead.
Proverbs 21:25. Sorry, Salakia.
Oh, Salakia. Go ahead.
This is hold on. Salakia, this thing is slowing down over here.
It's Sirach 4.
Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee.
So, how would you define striving? To strive.
Being diligent, to have that will, to want to seek,
Con.
to be
That's good.
doers of
That's
the
good.
word.
So strive. Con. Exactly right. You're not striving if you're just believing in it and reading it, right? So this is the definition for strive. The first one that popped up in Google. It says strive to make great efforts to achieve or obtain something, to struggle or fight vigorously, right? You have to make great efforts to achieve or obtain whatever you're going for. What are you supposed to be trying to achieve or obtain? It's the truth, right? So strive for the truth. And notice it says fight vigorously. There's no slothfulness or sluggardness in fighting, right? There's no slothful laziness when it comes to fighting. You have to fight for this truth. And part of that is giving all your might to everything. Like Colossians, the 3rd chapter says, whatever you put your hand to do it with all your might as unto Yahweh. Just pretend you're doing your job. Man, I really don't want to do this today. Man, I'm feeling lazy. Man, my boss is a jerk. Man, whatever it is, right? You're not doing it as unto man, but as unto the Most High, right? That's what it says in Colossians, the 3rd chapter. So strive for the truth until death, and the Most High is going to fight for you. He's going to give you knowledge, wisdom, understanding. He's going to give you everything that you need to survive. It might not be everything you want, but it's like Solomon said, don't give me too much and don't give me too little. Just give me exactly what I need and he'll be fine, right? So if the wisest man to walk the earth besides Yahweh could say that and be content with that, then that's exactly what we need to be content with as well, right? So yeah, it doesn't look like there's no more comments. Tawada, I really appreciate you coming on here.
Yeah,
doing double duty, posting the water. I really appreciate you. So with that, I'll say all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, and Shalom and Barakatah to all of the sincere brothers and sisters that are trying to live out the truth in sincerity and in humility, right? Especially in humility, because let me tell you, man, when people come into this truth, pride puffs them up, like the scriptures say, right? So always stay humble and always stay sincere. And like the brother said, always stay diligent, right? So with that, I'll say shalom.
Shalom.